We got sanctuary cities, or I said we're going to flood the zone. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, one agent arrests a bad guy in the jail in the safety and security of the jail.
The administration's action is being challenged in court, followed by a ruling by U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani in Massachusetts.
It's the safer of the officer, safer of the alien, the safer of the community. Okay, you're going to force it in the community to find him. If we can't find him in the community, we're going to find him at the work site.
What if the most powerful court in the country made decisions overnight without hearings and didn't even explain why? That's not a hypothetical. It's happening right now with the shadow docket. But here's the kicker. During the Trump administration, it happened a lot. Was the Supreme Court really fast-tracking his agenda? Let's dive into the numbers that might make you wonder if justice is truly blind or just playing favorites. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Imagine this. Decisions that could change millions of lives settled faster than you make a cup of ramen. That's the shadow docket, where old Supreme Court traditions of thoroughness pack up and go to die. Once upon a time, the court was a model of slow and steady decision-making. Cases trudged through oral arguments. Justices wrote detailed opinions, and rulings rarely left anyone wondering why they happened. It was a whole system built to inspire trust. Clear, deliberate, and, for the most part, kind of boring. And honestly, boring worked. Now, welcome to chaos. The shadow docket has turned the court into night owls, firing off rulings in the dead of night without so much as a memo explaining their reasoning. These aren't minor cases either. Immigration, voting rights, pandemic policies, you name it, all decided with the kind of speed that should set off alarms. It's like they're skipping the whole deliberation part that made the court respectable in the first place. So, how did we get here? Well, say what you want about Trump. We know people do, but one thing's for sure.
So we're going to flood the zone, and sanctuary cities will get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhoods, more worksite enforcement, because we're going to get the bad guy.
The Supreme Court has effectively given the Trump administration the green light to create chaos.
It's the safer of the officer, safer of the alien, the safer of the community. Okay, you're going to force it in the community to find him. If we can't find him in the community, we're going to find him at the work site.
His administration knew how to make use of a loophole when they saw one. Let's talk numbers, because nothing screams, "this is a problem," like cold, hard stats. The Trump administration filed 41 emergency appeals, more than double what the Obama and Bush presidencies combined sent to the Supreme Court. In these cases, the court granted Trump 28 victories, full or partial ones, conveniently pushing policies into action before lower courts could respond. Critics started calling it Supreme Court speed dating, and honestly, the label fits. Justice Elena Kagan, not one to mince words, outright called these filings relentless. She admitted that the court jumped the gun, rushing decisions that eroded trust in their process. Makes you wonder if the robes come with a stopwatch now. So what happens when this rushed chaos stumbles into ancient legal loopholes? Believe it or not, that's where we're headed. Straight back to the 1700s. Because apparently modern problems require colonial-era solutions. If someone told you an 18th century law meant for wartime enemies was being used to deport Venezuelan immigrants today, you'd probably laugh. But surprise? It's not a joke. Enter the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, cooked up back when powdered wigs were still trending and muskets were considered high-tech. Originally, this law let the president deport or imprison alien enemies during war without proving they had done anything wrong.
We got sanctuary cities, or I said we're going to flood the zone. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the jail, one agent arrests a bad guy in the jail in the safety and security of the jail.
The Biden-era protections, affected individuals may still explore alternative options to remain in the U.S., such as...
Like I just said, we're going to increase the teams greatly. So you're going to see more teams on the streets you've never seen before. You're going to see more worksite enforcement than you've ever seen in the history of this nation.
As part of a sweeping restructuring of the U.S. diplomatic service aimed at aligning with Trump's hardline immigration agenda.
Fast forward 200 years, and it's somehow playing referee in modern immigration policy. Neat trick, right? Here's where it gets controversial. The Trump administration dug this dusty old law out of the history books during a very non-warlike situation, deporting Venezuelans. Officially, they were labeled as part of an invading force, even though the U.S. isn't at war with Venezuela. And just like that, the Supreme Court got involved. What did they rule? Well, honestly, they didn't really rule anything. They gave the green light for deportations to continue and skipped the inconvenient part of deciding whether using the law this way was actually, legal. So, if you're Venezuelan and caught in this crossfire, good luck figuring out what's next. There's pretty much no guidance. Now, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wasn't having it. In her dissent, she pointed out that the government itself admitted one glaring issue. These people the U.S. was rushing to deport were legally entitled to notice and proper review. Ignoring that might be efficient, but sure doesn't scream fair process. Sotomayor also hinted this isn't just a one-off mess, calling out the broader implications of cutting corners in cases like this. It didn't stop there. Critics have compared this to some of America's darkest legal decisions, like the Supreme Court's approval of Japanese-American internment during World War II. Second Justice Robert Jackson back then famously warned that decisions like these linger long after the crisis fades, becoming tools for abuse in the future.
The court's brief order granted an emergency request from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. The administration's action is being challenged in court, followed by a ruling by U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani in Massachusetts.
If you want to make it difficult for us, we'll do it. It'll take more time, it's less efficient, but we're not going to stop until we find that guy.
Applying for asylum. Legal advocates have said that thousands have already started that process, but as we know, the cruelty of the Trump regime.
Fast forward to today, groups like the ACLU argue that using the Alien Enemies Act like this creates a dangerous precedent. Do rulings like this really protect justice, or are they just a panic button in disguise? The shadow docket isn't just speeding up decisions, it's skipping the part where people feel like their voices matter. When rulings come without explanations, it leaves everyone guessing, and trust in the system slowly unravels. And the bigger problem? This isn't temporary. Future administrations could easily abuse this fast-track process, turning the Supreme Court into an assembly line for unchecked power grabs. So here's the question. Do we accept this silence in the name of efficiency, or demand the transparency that justice depends on? The court was meant to referee democracy, not hide behind closed doors. Whose rules are they playing by?